Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. I can't think of any quote except the, why aren't we like that one family? They do yoga together.
Look at their dog. Even their dog's in better shape. It's like doing push-ups.
Yeah, the Posey's dog doing push-ups and just swole half.
Dude, that family reminds me of his family. It's so funny. They're just like picture perfect.
Yes, I know a few of those. And we've got Jordan Christensen.
We are human. I eat orange.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum. Good.
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 Human. And we've got Karen Mickle.
Maya. That song actually went hard in this movie.
Yeah, it did.
No, for sure.
It's great.
And we've got Grant Mickle.
You inspired me. Follow you on Instagram.
You weren't already following me? And then as she's walking away, that was such a nice compliment, honey. The fetching Posey husband, dude, what a loser. Man's whipped.
Butterfly formation. Family first. So funny.
You know, it only took 28 minutes and a lot of tears, but now I can almost use a computer. All right, so let's get into it. We're discussing Mitchells versus the Machines. This movie came out in 2021, and it's directed by Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe, I believe. Am I saying his name right?
Another Phil Lord production, though, dude. Oh, I love Phil
Jeff
Lord.
Rowe. Which, yeah, they do like episodes of Gravity Falls, I know that, and then like other things like Disenchantment and stuff
No
like
way,
that. But I think
Eric
they're
Andre
writers
is
for it.
Mark?
Yeah, isn't that funny? He's
Eric
so
Andre is in
funny.
this movie. Yeah, so this movie stars Abby Jacobson, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph, Eric Andre, Olivia Colman, Fred Armisen, Beck Bennett, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, Blake Griffin is in this, Conan O'Brien is in this. There's a lot of great actors. So let's get into this movie.
Blake
What was it
Griffin's
like watching?
in this? What on earth?
Yeah, Blake Griffin, basketball player. So we've got a quirky, dysfunctional family's road trip is upended when they find themselves in the middle of a robot apocalypse and suddenly become humanity's unlikeliest last hope. So let's go around and say what it was like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast. I will start. I'm the one that got everybody on this bandwagon, told you all to watch it. You guys were all like, it's a kid's movie, I'm not really interested in seeing it. And then I was like, it's got the same guys that were involved with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Like, you got our
And you guys
For
were
the
like,
record-
yeah,
for the
maybe
record, no
I'll
one-
give it a watch.
No-
Maybe I'll give it a chance.
No one was against it. You just said, oh yeah, the Mitchell vs. Machines. And we were like, okay. And then you're like, it's the same people as Spider-Man. We're like, oh, swag.
Well, because a lot of the movies you watch, Ty, are like kid movies. You're like, oh, I watched another kid movie today.
I said it was good, and you guys should check it out. And then you guys weren't sold, and then I was like, it's the same guy that did, Into the Spider-Man and Spider-Verse. And you guys were like, oh, I love that movie. That was you. Perfect impression. Nailed it. So let's get into it. What was it like watching the first time? I love this movie. It was a lot of fun, very funny, very quotable, and I was pleasantly surprised all throughout. And this movie and Love and Monsters hold a really special place in my heart because I really like the hero's journey, and I love that you can still throw wonderful, pleasant, callbacks while also making it fun and fresh with a premise that we've seen before, like a robot apocalypse or an alien invasion, all those kinds of movies. Very fun animation, so it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend this movie. So let's get into Jordan. What was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Ty is just about to go on to the next section.
His favorite part. Huh? Why don't you just do the whole podcast yourself, Ty?
Yeah, this is a one-man show, folks.
Actually Bruce recommended it to me first, Ty. He's like, I watched this really good show about this girl who makes videos. And so shout out to you, Bruce. And then
Jordan
Ty solidified it.
And you're like, get out of the
recommendation.
way, you little runt. And you're like, oh, my brother's also recommends it, so maybe everyone else knows something that I don't.
Well, I was like, that sounds interesting. And then it wasn't till you said it was made by that studio, Ty, that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to see this.
Sure, kid. Get out of here. Slap him in the
Well,
face.
no, but when you said who made it, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to see this now. And then I kept texting you because I kept losing the text. I'm like, I can't remember the name of that movie.
What's the movie that I need to watch?
Yeah, and I texted you like
Mitchells
3
versus the
times,
Machines.
and then you texted me. Thank you for sticking with it because I absolutely love this movie. Love it. I'm like, we have to talk about this because so far all their movies that they've produced are so much fun. Like I love the Lego movie and Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse and this. So great. Very visually fun. And then I watched it twice. I know we didn't have a lot of time before the podcast because it was kind of like I watched it and I'm like, we have to do this movie. So I know I kind of threw it on everybody at the last minute. But then Grant sent out a text saying, have you guys seen this movie? And I literally watched it an hour before you sent that. So I'm like, oh, yes, like we need to get Grant on this too because this is so good.
Wait, I don't see where it says... You guys said that Phil Lord directed this?
No,
I don't think Phil Lord
it's
directed
his
this.
production.
Yeah, it's
Okay, 'cause
the
I was about to
animation. Yeah. No, it was directed by Michael Rianda
Yeah, I was gonna say.
and Jeff Rowe.
No, he just produces really good stuff too.
Yeah, because they were his studio was involved for making Lego Movie and Spider-Man
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse.
21 Jump Street.
Yep. So, but yeah, as far as animated movies go, so let's get into two of our first.
And
Yeah,
Grant,
Cameron
did they even go?
and Grant. No, they haven't gone. Cameron, what was it like watching this movie for the first time?
Ty's like, let's get this rolling around, guys.
Yeah, Ty really doesn't care what it was like for us watching.
It's just getting late here. I'm ready for Batty Bye.
So who first, me?
I don't care. Fight to the death for it.
Break a stick,
You
a
can
pool
go,
stick, Ty.
We're gonna have tryouts. Who wants it more desperately?
You can go first, Grant.
So I've only seen this once, but I definitely want to rewatch it again. It's such a rewatchable movie. Like I watched it with Elise too, and like we were dying laughing at parts. It was just.
Oh, were you
like,
actually paying attention or were you guys kissing the whole time? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
gosh.
Grant watched the
Yes.
movie? I
I
doubt
watched
it.
the whole thing, and I
What's
loved
the plot?
it.
As it-
Because when
As Alex would say, I watched half of it.
no, I was glued to the screen. This movie was really really good. It's just like
Elise was like, Grant, come snuggle with me. You're like, don't rush me. Get out of the way. I have to watch this movie.
Oh, or that little boy, he just like jumps out the window.
Sorry, have it.
yeah. So yeah, I love this movie. I want to rewatch it again. So
It's great.
go for it, Cam.
How about you, Cameron? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
Yeah, I've only had the chance to watch it once. I watched it very similar animation, obviously, to Spider-Man Spider-Verse. Also, there was moments that kind of reminded me of like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Humor.
Yes.
Just very kind of similar, like right on the nose. Very self-aware, but yeah, it was really fun. Like really, like I loved. It was like really solid message as well. So it was really fun watching. it.
Yes.
It's a pretty easy recommendation too.
It's a pretty easy cry. Oh my gosh, I cried in this movie so many times.
Okay, this one I'll give it to you because there was like one or two scenes that were like pretty emotional.
Yes. Talk about parents and what they sacrifice for us. Oh my gosh, it was getting to me. I'm like, I can't wait to have kids.
Making the babies. So, all right, guys, let's get into two of our favorite things from this movie. Why don't you start us off, Grant?
Oh man. Okay. I think the humor in this show is spot on. Like some of it's like kid humor that's like, oh haha. But like some of the stuff was like laugh out loud. Cause like I think my favorite scene was when the robot was like, wait, he's like, just watch when I turn off the Wi-Fi. It's like boop. And then the whole world goes to chaos. And then like it shows the guys are like, we need to make a sacrifice to the router. And everyone's just going crazy. It's so funny, dude.
That reminded me of Rick and Morty.
I
I'm gonna
love
turn
that
this
scene.
This is
one
what happens
to
when I
a
turn
zero.
economic value from a 1
I
to
can
0.
tell you for money.
So
Who's paying me to yell at this guy?
there was so many funny parts, and like I love the Joneses family or whatever. They were just like the perfect family. It was so funny to watch them. So my second favorite thing would be like I would say the animation style. Just I love the artwork, and like I love too how they kind of make the girl character like kind of like artsy stuff happens whenever she's like in a scene or something, and like the stuff that she says. I really enjoyed that. So. Because I'm an artistic kind of guy. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
I've
that.
got this. I'm fine. And it's like, liar.
I know, right? So I just love the animation, and yeah, I'll leave the rest up to you guys because there's so much good stuff about it.
Excellent. How about you, Cameron? Two of your favorite things.
I think this movie's one of the best parts about it is like how self-aware it is. I kind of mentioned it a little bit. There's a lot of things where he's like they can't be having that much fun. This is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life.
Or like when they're like,
it can't
be that
cool.
exciting.
This is
Like
the coolest
the most
thing
exciting
that has
thing
ever
ever.
happened ever. Yeah. So, I thought that was really funny how they. Like,
I'm making lifelong friends. Yeah.
Yeah. On the slip and slide. Yeah, so I think they leaned into that very well, and they just did a very smooth transition of kind of being like, we know like there's cheesy parts about it, but making it not only like cheesy and like family friendly, but then making that even funny and kind of like making fun of themselves, which I think benefited the film a lot. And then obviously, like the kind of like Grant mentioned, the humor is amazing, but yeah, just the visuals are very satisfying. There's lots of moments. I love how when she's like describing stuff, it'll pop up right in front of her or whatever. She's like, oh yeah, then we have to do this, and then she's like talking about like friendship or whatever, and like a heart will appear and stuff like that. Just very, there's a lot of attention to detail with kind of the directors and how they produced it. Just really well done visually. It's kind of like with, I loved it in Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse when he's falling, and it's like the is following him. Things like that I really enjoy.
Love it. Jordan, how about you? Two of your favorite things?
So my first favorite thing is Danny McBride. I think he is hilarious, and him playing the dad is so perfect. Because if you've ever seen like Vice Principals or something, he's always kind of a bit more childish, or Ty's like seen This Is the End, where he just kind of plays like a more childish character. And so him being the dad and just this embodiment of...
He's hilarious in Pineapple Express too.
Yeah, just he's so funny. I think he's hilarious. And so I actually think him playing in kid movies is like the perfect role for him, because he just has more of it, kind of like he acts like a child with humor. And so him playing it as a dad that just doesn't understand his kids and, you know, and not listening to them. And I'm trying to understand them. It's not only is it so relatable, but it's so funny. Yeah. Yes. It's just so funny.
Don't bring cherry hurt my stomach, little girl.
Oh no, wait, that's the same guy?
Yeah.
What? Dang.
And Cameron and Grant have both mentioned the humor. This movie makes me laugh so hard. Like, I was bursting out laughing so many times. Like, I love the robot characters. I love, like, all the characters. They're so funny. And they're constantly poking fun at, like, Cameron's already mentioned, they don't take themselves too seriously, but they're constantly poking fun at, like, big corporate companies like Amazon and Apple and
So
Apple
funny.
speeches and stuff. And I'm sure it's not going to be that fun. And it's just like, yeah, like everybody's like dancing on the stage. One of the parts that made me laugh out loud so hard was when he's like, the machine makes him a burrito, throws it at him. It reminds me of SpongeBob, and he catches it in his mouth, and he's like, oh! So funny.
Yeah, Jordan, that quote of when he's like, it's almost like stealing people's data and giving it to hyper-intelligent AI as a part of an unregulated tech monopoly was a bad thing.
You know, pretty tongue-in-cheek, kind of fun, self-aware quotes. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I think two of my favorite things are a lot of what you guys mentioned, but I enjoyed the new take on the robot apocalypse because, or AI, you know, kind of like I Am Legend or not I Am Legend, but
Terminator.
iRobot, Terminator, all those movies, but it was different and unique in the fact that the family was directly impacted by the technology because the daughter uses the video to edit, and everyone's affected by Wi-Fi. But, you know, it wasn't the standard, like, I just wish my kids would put their phones down and we could connect. But I actually liked that she did videos and he didn't understand her videos, which I thought was really great. It wasn't just so much that she was doing the things, it was what she was doing.
These people just understand me.
Yeah, right. A bunch of cats videos with like vomiting rainbows and stuff. I'd be like, yeah, I don't get your videos either. I'm here to lock away criminals and lick my own butt, and I'm all out of criminals. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't find your Doug Pug video or, you know, police pug very good. But I'd be like, you know what?
Pig, dog, pig, dog. Pig, dog,
Pig,
dog.
dog.
Take that big
Loaf of bread.
Loaf of bread, Eric.
Loaf of bread.
Yeah, the movie. So it was a fun new take on a similar genre that I'm familiar with, but I also just like that the central plot didn't revolve around parents not understanding their children just because they spend time on their phones. But it's like the things that they do, right? They try to show an interest in what they do, and it's like, I just care about you. I want you to have, you know, a successful life, and I don't know if pursuing these silly college videos is something that'll mean something. And then in the end, it saves the world, so that's great. It's all good.
What I like too is kind of going back to like what I said with the self-awareness. I loved how all the really like the touchy, gooey like parts were like all scripted, like by characters on screen, which I thought was really funny.
That was really
how
funny.
it's like trying to make him seem like super sweet or whatever, and like I just felt like that's kind of really poking at like a lot of people think like, oh, it's got to be super sweet, or it's like it's just got to be natural, you know, like you just got to try to do your best.
Yeah, and so there were my favorite scene, and I'll just go right because it's two of my favorite things. So the one was that, and then my second is the scene where they go to the mall. I love the giant Furby that appears, and it's just like, so be it, let the dark harvest begin. And it's like
I will avenge my fallen
subtitles.
children.
I will avenge my fallen children. And there's a really funny scene where all the devices are like controlled by this Wi-Fi router, and they're trying to shut it down. And like, there's this massage chair like picks up Mrs. Mitchell is like has her in the chair, and she's like, oh no, and then she's like, oh no, and she like sits down in the chair, and then they're like, well, and they try to reach for her, and she's like, no. She wants to stay in the massage chair. I love that scene. I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Really funny and quick humor that, you know, it was really clever. So, and again, I love that PAL, the device that Mark Bowman's character, Eric Andre's character, develops is betrayed by his dismissal of her into the next big tech thing. I thought that was kind of cool because, again, it is kind of speaks to, like, the relationships. Like, because even though PAL was just a AI, you know, the disregard that Mark Bowman had for it, it's like, it's kind of how I view our relationships today, where everything is just a digital representation of a relationship. Like if I send you or poke you on a Facebook post, I wouldn't do that because I don't have Facebook now. But if I were to poke you or text message you even, it's like, it's not even quite the same as calling you or making the effort to go out and see you in person. So I think it's really good. This movie speaks a lot to those elements and themes, because I think we are losing a lot of the real substantive, what am I trying to say? Substantive relationships that we have. And it's all being replaced with synthetic, you know, texts and poking and messaging and games and everything else. We're going to lose all the meaningful and real relationships that we have in life.
Well, it's
so
secluding people too. Like, you noticed how the kid, his like only interest was dinosaurs, and then the sister was in video, and it's like nobody could connect with each other.
Never shall the twain meet. Yes.
Yeah, she's like, I just put up with it, and it's like, oh, jeez.
Yep, pretty dark. But in the end, I'm like, yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that you do for family, you know, rummaging through the yellow pages, you know, hello, would you like to talk to me about dinosaurs? No? Okay. Flips to the next page, calls the next person. Would you like to talk to me about dinosaurs? Like, it's just really fun. Like, that poor kid just wants a connection. She wants to make a connection at college. The parents just want to have connection to their kids. The mom just wants to be validated, you know, thinking that her family has, you know, is connected to each other in a way, you know. So all of them were seeking for a connection. Mom's scary now. I love that. She becomes the total bad hey that like fights the robots and slays them.
I am Linda Mitchell, mother of two. Look upon me in fear.
I love the robots when they're like, oh
she's
run!
run. She's become too powerful.
So great.
Dude, those robots reminded me of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
The Dark Troopers or whatever, Grant.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the next level, like, oh no, a more menacing fear thing, you know, because the robots weren't menacing enough, so now you have like...
What a kiss up.
Yes.
Yes, my queen.
Yes, my queen.
Yes, my queen.
Well, if I just did it in like a Bane voice type. Yeah.
Behold the twilight of man. I can't get over that Furby, dude. It's like stuck in my head.
Oh my gosh. Well, the best part was he wouldn't say the words. He would just be like, rah, 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 and then the words would pop up at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
I know. It's so great. I love that. Just humor to be had out of subtitles is a clever treat. You know, blinking you'll miss it. It's
I know.
so
I considered quoting that for my opening one, but I'm like, because it's subtitles, I didn't want to quote it because like it just doesn't do it justice.
It's not even really what they say. So.
Well, there's so many fun old references if you're into like old sci-fi stuff, like Maximum Overdrive, like the Coke machine that shoots out Cokes to kill people. Like,
Yes.
There's so many little things in there that I'm like, wow.
I love it when they're walking out of the building when it's on fire, and when she said like just like Mad Max or whatever.
A lot of movie quotes. quotes or movie references.
Oh, or she's like Dawn of the Dead, and he's like, yeah, we all know how that ended.
Yeah.
Well, and the quote that I said, "I'm here to bust criminals and lick my own butt, and I'm all out of criminals," is very reminiscent of "They
Oh,
Live."
They
when
Live, yeah.
I've come here to kick and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Right? That's very much the same through line from John Carpenter's "They Live." So, yeah, there's a lot of pop cultural references, but also callbacks and nostalgic references. So this movie was a lot of fun, and it makes sense because the daughter's obsessed with movies, so a lot of her life and culture is quoting movies. The son uses his knowledge of dinosaurs, and he's terrified of talking to girls. It's kind of fun just because everyone has a character arc.
And I loved how they even pointed out that a lot of the visuals look like Journey album covers. It totally did. So visually cool.
Yeah. Do you guys have any nitpicks or things that you have questions about?
I mean, making the daughter a lesbian at the end seemed a bit
what
forced.
the randomest bullshit ever, and they tried to do it so subtle. I had to replay it 3 times.
I did too. I was like,
did
what?
you just say her? I was like, what the fudge? Literally, it reminded me of Stranger Things when what's it called? My favorite character, Fetching, has the best chemistry ever all season, and she's like, oh, no, I like girls. I was like, what? Literally nothing in the entire season led up to this. If you want to like lead up to it, okay, whatever, I'm fine with that. But like, if you're just gonna whip it out of your butt to just like throw the crumb, like get the fudge out of here, man.
No, I'll say honestly, this one didn't throw me for a loop. The Stranger Things season 3 did throw me for a loop too. But
if you do think about it, though, like she actually
Jade
is wearing. I looked closely the second time viewing. She's wearing a button with the
McBride.
rainbow colors. Yeah. And then she's also like, the whole film is about her trying to fit in, and she doesn't. And she says, now I found my people. And if you look at her art sketches, it's like the main pictures of that girl she's been talking to. So I don't know. They're kind of like leaning
honestly,
into it.
no, like I said, it didn't surprise me. And honestly, like I was like, if you want a more accurate depiction of this movie, the girl would also have a bunch of anime on her computer, and she'd have purple hair, and she'd already be like probably a little bit more overweight and obese, not as cute and quirky as they had made her look out. She'd be like this ugly. I'm not fat shaming or stereotyping, but anime lesbians
Ty,
is
just
my
like the
point.
robots. Beep boop bop. That's actually a really offensive
That's
stereotype.
an offensive stereotype. Yeah. And when you're obsessed with making videos about your dog, it's like, yeah, you're ending up with another
Dude, that
woman.
dog, when he straightened his eyes to Fetching trying to catch it.
That was really funny.
Has to catch the remote at the end, or the cell phone.
The cell phone,
And then
yeah.
he Fetching misses.
And then it bounces into the glass of water. It's great. That reminded me of Kevin, bless his heart. We once had Kevin come over, and he was like frantic. He's like, I need a bag of rice or a bowl of rice or some oatmeal. And we're like, what's wrong? He goes, I got my phone all wet. And I'm like, what happened? He goes, I put it in a glass of water. And I was like, well, why did you do that? And he goes, I didn't know the glass had water in it. And I was like, so you just put your phone in a glass of water?
In what situation
and
is
soaked
that
your phone?
like
It was
normal
so
to
funny.
just like huck your phone in a glass?
He was like looking at it, and he didn't know that there was water in it, and he finally like dunked his phone in the glass of water. It's just
just a
that's our
natural
friend
Kevin
We
move.
love you, Kevin.
Dunk
No,
your phone
the
in
best
water.
time is when he was playing video games and got so mad he threw down his remote, and it's his phone
Controller.
was right there, and he didn't know it, so he smashed his phone. And then he's like, I broke my phone. Great.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember that. That's so funny. I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember it
dude.
very well.
I remember him throwing plenty of
breaking,
controllers.
Yeah, controllers.
Broke my airsoft gun. We all gang up.
Yeah, you guys like ganged up on him or whatever. I remember he would break something like every time he would come over because you guys would just gang up on him in like some game, and then he would just snap and then just Fetching break something.
We were so cruel to you, Kevin. Kevin, this is us apologizing on the pod. We love you, man. Any other nitpicks or things you want to throw out?
No,
Questions?
this movie is so
yeah,
funny.
not a ton to say about it, but just overall and super good message. Like really easy
Super good.
recommendation. Like easy family watch.
Yes, it's just, you can relate so much to this family with both, like Ty said, kind of, he was glad, like you were glad that they didn't just focus on just the cliche of, oh, you're being on your phone too much.
Right.
Like,
I hate you, kid, because you're on your phone. Look at nature. I love the whole side plot where the little carved was a bear or
Yeah.
a moose. I can't
It's a
remember
moose
what it
or
was.
something.
a moose that was carved, and he didn't know what the significance of it was, but it was actually a little end piece to a handrail, whatever you call those. It was just a little top that he had taken from the cabin in the woods that they had because they decided to opt into a life closer to a city and a suburb for the kids. And financially speaking, it made more sense. So that was a really touching moment because she says, the mom's like, this is really hard for you. And then he picks up his kid and he's like, no, this is really easy. It's really sweet because kind of reminiscent of what was the movie we just watched where they said like your life as a parent, you're just a spirit. Oh, it was Interstellar. You're just the ghost of your children's future is pretty much what happens as a parent. And I really like that. That's what happens in this movie. So really good self-sacrificing parents to do anything for your kids. It's just really good.
I'm sorry, Ty. I was snoozing there for a second.
Yeah, that monologue. I love that. Like, it's like a super emotional part. And she's like, sorry, snoozing.
Yeah, sorry. Is the only one with kids here. Sorry, I bored you guys. You guys are like, parents, that's lame. I identify with the kids and the cool, technology and stuff,
That's kind of like me anytime, I'm around girls, just me with the movies. I'm just like, hey, you want to talk to me about movies? Oh, Okay. You want to talk to me about movies?
You want to talk to me about movies?
And then when you finally find somebody like him, he's like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
And then she's like,
I love it.
She's like, do you want a dinosaur topper? He's like, no, I hate dinosaurs. I hate you. Goodbye forever.
That's good fun.
There's so many good quotes.
This is a really fun movie. Definitely recommend it. Do you guys recommend this movie?
Oh, 100%. It's for
Yeah.
everybody.
100%.
Only if you have a soul.
That's true. If you relate to the robot, maybe.
Yeah, if you're Mark Zuckerberg, you might not enjoy this. You're like, I don't like how they were shaming not only robots, but then also shaming big corporations. This affected him on two emotional levels.
I don't think he would take offense. I don't think that guy feels anything.
Yeah. I feel emotion. Are you my mother now? Sure.
Yes. He's like, I'm feeling something, and he's like drawing a tear on his face.
Look it, I'm making water.
I made eye water. Like
Those
you
two
guys.
robots were great.
Eye water, yeah.
Eye water. But I love, my favorite scene is when the robots first show up and they're at that like gas station store or the dinosaur place, and then the robot says, we have food and entertainment for you to enjoy in our human fun pods. Who here likes fun? The guy's like, hey, I like fun. He's like, trust me, bud, you do not like fun. And he's like, no, I really do like it. Everyone says that about me.
Yes. Yes.
And then I love
first
it
started
when they're going to
laughing.
ship you off into the vast thing of space, like making fun of like Southwest and like Delta and all the like those intro
Yes.
videos or whatever.
Yes.
But then she's like, but we have Wi-Fi. And she's like, oh, that's not too bad. Like, do you even have your device with you? Like, what? Oh, it's funny.
It's great. It's so fun. Yeah, we are pretty dependent on our phones, that's for sure, and Wi-Fi and
Well, Ty, I have to tell you
constant
I
entertainment.
have to tell you a really quick story. So Cassie's like, she's like, my kids were being so extra today, and I'm like, what? And she's like, apparently Bruce started crying, and Cassie's like, oh, what's the matter? Is everything okay? And all of a sudden, he's like, the Wi-Fi's not working, and so now I can't play on this app and this app and this app. And all of a sudden, Caitlin started crying. She's like, now I can't watch my shows, and I can't play on the app either, and I can't play with the iPad.
End of the world.
And it's so funny. So this movie is so accurate. It's amazing. Like, when we don't have technology, how much we use it. We forget.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
It's funny.
It is wild. It's very, very accurate in that regard. So, it's a hard recommendation for all of us here. This was a fun surprise episode we did. And then let's get into movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing lately. Why don't you start us off, Cameron? You always have the big list.
Yeah, sorry. So I'll just be really quick because I am special needs and I forgot to do I cut out the audio or whatever. But I've been watching lots of Black Mirror, and then I also watched a little bit of Pineapple Express with Jordan and Spiral, and then we also watched Mystery Men, it's really funny. Watched Quiet Place Part 2, which we already kind of talked about, and then also watched Dread with Jordo, it was actually really enjoyable. It's
Yes,
like
we're doing
it's
that
a
on
really
the pod.
solid B action flick.
So good. I love that movie.
I just
Dude.
remember the slow-mo shots of the drugs. That's all I remember.
Yeah, it was really satisfying seeing Cersei
good
just get
visuals.
absolutely obliterated.
Yeah,
Because she
for
has
the
the most
second time.
unsatisfying spoiler death.
Yeah, her death in this
Game
was
of Thrones.
way better than in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, in Game of Thrones, I was like, that's how she dies? You kidding me?
Wait, who?
Yeah. Cersei.
Cersei, remember? She just dies in fetching Jamie's arms. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
what? She did not deserve
She didn't
this like
deserve
noble
that,
of a
no.
death. She should have had the mountain like rip off her head or something. That'd have been more satisfying.
Yeah, gouge out her eyes first and then squish in her face.
Yeah.
Wow, you fellas.
Yeah.
Oh my.
But yeah, and then I'm just really looking forward to obviously like all the stuff coming out in theaters, but then also The Good Neighbor. Really interested in watching that, Law Abiding Citizen, and then I want to finish The Hunt, and then and I also want to finish Black Mirror.
Wait, I noticed you got to the episode of the video game, Cameron, about the 2 gay guys. Did you see that one yet?
I think that's the one I'm on right now because I just finished the one I think about the lady who accidentally like they murdered somebody when they got in a car accident and he didn't want to report it and then like it came back to haunt her, and like it's like the memory. Yeah, it's freaking trippy, dude.
I have a question. So, watching all Black Mirror episodes, is it worth just like going through and watching the top 10 episodes, or do you just watch them all?
I
Like,
think
aren't they
watch
all
them all.
posing the same question?
I loved
like,
them
aren't they
all.
I loved them all
yeah.
so far.
I just thought they were all answering or asking existential questions. You know, they're like, what does it mean to be alive? Do you have a right to being uploaded, your consciousness into the internet?
I do think there's episodes that are better than others, but
Yeah,
I like
you
them
can
all.
skip the lesbian episode. That's a waste of your time.
Well, that's why I'm saying, Cameron, you're coming up on another gay episode, so I'm kind of interested to hear your thoughts.
Oh boy. Yeah, the lesbian, I gave it a shot 20 minutes in and then you lost
Yeah,
me.
I couldn't get through that one either.
I thought it was like an interesting-ish plot because I kind of like the whole town idea.
It just didn't feel like a Black Mirror episode.
It wasn't feel like a Black Mirror. No, it was way too hopeful. Should have been way more like dark.
depressing. Well, that's why that Star Trek one ended too hopeful too. I was like,
Yeah, I
that's-
was
I'm
like-
with you, Grant. Cameron and Jordan are messed up. Listen to them talk about
Grant,
this show.
you need to watch the Black Mirror. It'll change your life. It'll change the
Do you
way.
hear what they just said? It wasn't bleak enough. It wasn't messed up enough. That's what they just said. Does that sound like your kind of show?
For Black Mirror standards, dude, Black Mirror, it's impossible to end happy.
Although I would say that one Facebook one where everyone takes a rating kind of ended positively.
I mean, yeah, just set up the most depressing world ever.
You know, just screaming at some black guy in prison. You know, just kind of positive.
Oh, like the rating controls everything.
Yeah, I think that ended medium. I would never I don't know if I would call it positive.
she was in jail. I don't know if I'd say it ended positive.
She learned to get off her cell phone because it was
Yeah.
taken away from her, and she is never going to get her 4.2 stars back again.
She's a 2.8.
But then she could be that chill bus driver. She could be a semi-driver, and she'll be fine.
Wait, what movie was that?
It's Black Mirror. It's a TV series on Netflix. It's fetching insane.
Oh,
And then I want to start The Godfather.
Godfather is a great movie, Cameron. Can't believe you haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm excited for you to see that one. Jordan should watch it again because he saw it way too young. We should definitely review it on the pod. The first one is so good. Second one's good too, but I really like the first one. All right, folks, let's get into what I've seen. I've seen some good movies, and we'll get into Grant. I watched a movie called Age of Adeline starring Harrison Ford and Blake Lively, I think it is. And it was really good. It's a really good movie. It's a romantic or fantasy sci-fi movie. It's really good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as humorous as I was
I'm sorry,
hoping.
but I'm thinking of 5-year engagement. You're wondering where your went, eh?
No, I'm trying to think of saying stuff without spoiling it, like, because it's sci-fi, so I'm like, I don't know if you want me to give away the sci-fi element. It's like watching About Time.
I feel like I'm drinking out of Chewbacca's.
Yeah. It's a concept where a girl never ages. Make that of what you will. So
You're white.
It's a good
You
movie.
make tacos like a Mexican.
Like I said, I'm trying not to spoil it because I talk too much about these movies. Then you guys are like, oh, you should have talked about it or you shouldn't steal. Anyway, whatever. I'm moving on. I watched a movie, an incredible movie called Love and Monsters.
Yes, we're doing it on the pod next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I highly recommend
wanna
you guys
watch
watch it. It's a really good film. I really liked it. I'm really excited for you guys to see it. I watched it with the Rankins.
I loved it.
I found the
Although
movie and I was like,
I still hate one thing. I won't say, but we'll talk about it
right,
later.
which is funny because I like
I think
the thing
I
that
think
you
it's gonna
hate.
piss
Yeah.
Cameron off big time. But
Well, we'll see. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So Love and Monsters is a wonderful movie.
then again, I never know with you guys. Who knows? Cameron might be like,
think-
it's my favorite movie.
What do you mean you never know with you guys?
Yeah, I think Cameron will like it. I don't think he'll be bothered too much
Okay.
by it. So we're discussing.
Color Out of Space, Mandy, and Love and Monsters.
Oh man.
Let's get into you, Grant. What have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to seeing?
I watched A Quiet Place 1 2 nights before I watched the second one, and they're both super, super good. I don't know which one I like more.
That's cool to hear you say that because I've heard other people say they like the second one better than the first. So I'm curious to know.
What on earth? Those people are high.
I really enjoyed both for different reasons.
Maybe you should watch them back to back, Cameron, because you would just hold the first one in high esteem and in
I
nostalgia.
do,
but
and
maybe
plus
you're
it was,
wrong,
it was
Cameron.
it was my the first time I held hands with my first or like my girlfriend or whatever, and it was like a super big deal. So I guess it has more emotional work.
And Cameron was blubbering and crying and wiping his tears and his snot with her hand. It's like, this is the most significant thing to me. Just teasing you, Cameron.
I love how you just whipped that out of literally nowhere. Why would I just be crying and wiping my
I don't
nose
know.
with her hand?
Maybe you were scared of the movie. I don't know. You're a little scared.
Well, you still referred to her as your girlfriend. Do you mean your ex?
Yes, obviously my ex.
Oh, cutting deep. Don't worry,
Jeez,
Cameron. I still
Jordan.
think 500 Days of Summer is a beautiful movie.
Yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Dude, chill.
Shots fired. Grant, what else have you been watching?
The only other movie I watched was Sabrina, super old movie with Harrison Ford. It's like solid 5, something like that. It's like okay.
Where's your Grant? Oh, sorry. I'm with
Yeah,
you, Grant.
like,
Sabrina's a great
Grant's
movie, dude.
movies.
Harrison
Grant's
Ford,
also
dude.
been watching like what's it called, like Sense and Sensibility and shows like that, and Pride and Prejudice.
Where did you
My
get
man
that?
needs to be around some more boys.
You were just pulling that out of your butt, dude.
And you were watching Pride and Prejudice, the church version.
Yeah, that's
or
what it
whatever.
was. Yeah, you're watching
Oh
the
my
church version of Pride
gosh.
and Prejudice, bro. You need to get some testosterone in that body
Because
of
it's
yours.
funny.
It's so funny.
Well, we watched it a year ago. That's why we rewatched it.
Oh, you rewatched it, so you've already seen it before. Even worse.
Oh my gosh, Cameron. No way.
Manhood check.
Hey guys, you'd be surprised how fun it is to watch romantic movies, you know, with your significant other.
I'm
It's a
the
lot of
only
fun.
single one, so you're only taking shots at me, Ty. So yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Cameron, do you need my hand to wipe your tears or your snot?
Because I don't have anyone's hand to hold.
Oh my gosh.
But you're enjoying this, Jordan. You sick.
Any other movies, Grant?
No, just looking forward to Love and Monsters.
Love and Monsters. I'm glad you're looking forward to it because I think you'll like it. It's a really good one.
I have a lot on my watch list, actually.
I'm excited to see Mandy again, to be honest. I can't wait to do Color Out of Space and Mandy
Yes.
because they're my 2 favorite Nick Cage movies, and that's why they're my choices. And that's why I'm bringing on Colton and Tess because they're some of my favorite guests that we've had. Cameron,
Nick
you haven't
Cage.
seen either movie yet. I know. Cameron, I'm with you. I don't understand Jordan's obsession with Nick Cage to the point where he has him on a pillow. I think it's unhealthy, but it's okay because
Heck yeah, dude.
Whatever, Ty, you said on the podcast, Ty, you were such a flip-flopper. Dude, you said on the
Dude.
podcast, Nick Cage is our
Oh
national
yeah, he's
treasure.
a national
Yes.
treasure, but not for the movies that you like about him. Like I like Mandy. I like movies
Dude,
like
and if you
Raising
listen
Arizona.
to any of the other podcasts, Ty, you just flip and flop back and forth
Ty,
all
my
the
you
time
were
like that.
super on the
It
Nick
sounds like
Cage
I'm an
train.
autonomous
Like,
being who has opinions that change from time to time. I can't believe it. I must be a human being. What an must be. I'm
Yeah,
so
Ty,
sorry.
you were super on the Nick Cage train, and then you were like, I don't know.
I said he's funny. I said he's a national treasure, but not for the movies that Jordan likes. Like I didn't like the movie adaptation. I know you didn't, Cameron. So
You just recently saw it for the first time.
it's
so
true.
You didn't even
It's
know.
true. But
weirdo.
again, like when I think of the movie adaptation, I don't think of a Nick Cage movie.
No, you just flipped on the dime. Like you just,
on
I
the
don't know what's
dime,
going on.
Ty.
Yeah,
that
Ty,
means?
you're just blowing with the
flip on the
wind. Do you even have
dime.
convictions? Are you even a person?
No, sometimes I just feel like you like to argue for the sake of arguing. Like if you listen to
It
Into
comes
the
at night.
Night
If you
or
say
Vast of the Night or whatever
in
it's
the
called.
vast of night one more
Oh
time,
my
Jordan,
gosh,
I'm going
dude.
to hurt you. Into the vast of night? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Vast of Night was a good movie, and I wish we would review that on the pod. Maybe someday down the road I'll force you guys to watch it. It's
We
a
will.
great
I
movie.
got on the list.
All right, folks.
Jordan's got to say what he's watched. Don't worry, I got you cheap.
I've seen all the movies you guys talked about, except I also watched Cruella in the theaters.
Boo.
Corolla?
And-
You watched Corolla?
Yeah.
Corolla?
You watched
I've already
Corolla.
mentioned.
Corolla.
I've already
Corolla DeVille.
Corolla.
Corolla.
I already talked about it. I still enjoyed it. Oh, I also watched another Nick Cage movie because I was in the Nick Cage mood after watching, adaptation.
Whoa, Jordan,
3
I'm not
times.
sure you like Nick Cage
saw-
enough. You know, you're flip flopping all over the place, man.
Yeah, dude. Do you even like Nick Cage?
I think you have him on your pillow. Yeah. Do you mention him enough?
Can
Do
we
you
mention that?
No.
Can we mention that Nick Cage scared Jordan at night when he looked at his fetching pillow? So he thought there was a man in his bed.
That's true. He did scare me.
Jordan's like, there's somebody here
My
with
pillow
me.
did scare me.
Oh, it's just Nick Cage.
And then the pillow talked to him. My goodness.
I watched the one we were talking about doing on the pod, but we switched it because I'm like, oh, this is really inappropriate.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah, I finished it. I loved it, and I cried. It's the most beautiful movie. But yeah, I would never recommend it to anybody.
Jordan,
It's
I
so
gotta be
bad.
honest. I've been going back and listening to the podcast, and you cry in every movie you watch. So I'm not sure. I'm sure that
We're
any
sure
of the
Jordan's
movies
in a
bear
good
any
emotional state to be able
significance.
He's crying over anything. Yeah, Ty, he's the one that needs Tatiana's hand to wipe his tears. I wipe my tears. I use my hand to wipe my tears.
I used Tatiana's hand to wipe my tears.
Well, one time when she was crying, I wanted to lick her tears.
What the?
I was thinking of the episode. I was thinking of the episode of South Park when he's like, "Oh yeah, your tears taste so good." Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh.
South Park is wild.
Oh man, I hope she doesn't love you enough
Tears
to
of my
listen to the
enemies.
podcast. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I think we're just tired. We need to turn
I
this
know,
up.
it's when we stay up late. So yeah, guys, everybody tune in next week. We're going to be listening to Mandy and Color Out of Space, and we're going to have our two most popular return guests by popular demand, Tess and Colton Hurley. Super excited to have them on the podcast next week.
And Grant.
And Grant, we're kind of excited
And
to have
that
you
guy,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll have him back.
I'm excited to have you on.
Don't
Grant.
forget to check us out on Spotify and Patreon.
Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Follow us, like us on all the platforms. It's free, except the platform of Patreon, because you can just
Give
give
us
us
your
money there.
money.
If you think that we've hard-earned cash, just
If
give
you
it
think
to
we've
us.
hard-earned cash,
Do it now! Give me! Subscribe to the channel right
Show
now.
me the
I heard if you
money.
yell, I heard that psychologically, if you yell at people, they'll do it. So you guys should all take a turn yelling at our audience.
Yeah,
Tell
that's
them
what
to
Jerry
subscribe.
Maguire does. Show me the money.
Yeah, do it, Cameron. Scream. Just say, subscribe right now.
You like
Tell
this
our audience.
jacket? Because I don't really need it. Because I'm cloaked in failure.
We should do Jerry Maguire and then address the Everything is Terrible channel, where they literally have a video store of only Jerry Maguire VHS tape. Like, I watched a
amazing.
documentary on the last Blockbuster in like Seattle, Washington somewhere. Or Seattle, Oregon. Where is it? I don't know. Washington State, I think.
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, it is in Washington.
I think there's a Blockbuster here in Utah still.
Is there really? Well, they claim that they're the last one, but it made me laugh because there is literally a video store in Washington that is all VHS tapes of Jerry Maguire. It's the only movie they have, and it's Jerry Maguire, and it's a VHS tape. And they said, please donate your Jerry Maguire's VHS tapes because they're going to build a pyramid in the middle of the desert until some lizard people come out of the sky and teleport it. I don't know. Some Scientology meets like parody or something. It made me laugh so hard though. Watch Everything is Terrible. Jerry Maguire. There's a monster literally comprised of VHS tapes, and he walks around the shores of Washington. It's so crazy. It's so bonkers.
Cloaked in failure.
Close to failure, dude. Anyway, love it. You guys, this is Future Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Food, yum, yum.